I'm gonna leave this up to you. You can we could continue your story from when you hit Corcoran and on, or we can talk about SNY yards. I kind of feel like if we talk about Corcoran first, were you on an SNY there?
I was on D yard, which was SAT-F, and they just switched it from C yard to D yard, and that was a level 4 270. And I'm gonna tell you something. It was an SNY, but it's fucking crack. It's up and cracking, man. You're locked down all the time. Motherfuckers getting hit. They're beefing. Their guns are going off. All that, all the time. In fact, I'm gonna tell you something. What happened is when guys start going off the normal active yards to those yards, to the SNY yards, they start forming their own crews. Like whites form BBCs or white knights or whatever else is there. The Southern Mexicans, Emmy dropout Southern Mexicans formed the 2.5s. The Northern Structures and NFs formed the Northern Riders. Now they got some new stuff called New Flowers and just whatever. But the thing is, they first formed them as screening things to make sure no sleepers are coming on those yards to get at them, to start hitting them. And then they formed them because they're just new tips, they're new gangs, new cliques. And they grew really big, really powerful. Now it's like the saying goes, the more shit changes, the more it stays the same. So that's what's going on now. Last time I talked, this has been years now, but the 2.5s were up in the Bakersfield area, banging with fucking the Emmy out there, running the gun and taking over the rackets. Yeah, so the thing is you got to remember something. Other than say guys that are on like SNY yards for having like a bad case, like a sex offender, or say homosexuals, because on active yards out there, at least the whites and the Southern Mexicans, there's not going to be any whites or Southern Mexican homosexuals. They got to go to the SNY yards. Now, other ones, crews kind of deal with it different. But other than that stuff, man, the dudes on them yards, you got to remember, fucking 90 to 95% of them were all gangsters. They still are gangsters.
Absolutely.
There's no joke to that. I mean, they're really with it. Hey, you got a crew on the SNY yards that are homosexual called GBG. And them motherfuckers they know their place. They fucking, they respect everybody and all that. But man, they're putting in work. They're pushing that steel. They're taking care of their fucking business, man. That's just the truth. I knew a guy that was in a spot. It was right not too far from Corcoran.
Kern?
I forget the
Kern
name.
Valley?
No, it wasn't Kern, but it was it was one of them.
Pleasant Valley?
What was it? Pleasant Valley.
Yeah.
And a dude that came from there, and he's telling me, he said, man, them motherfucking GBGs, they're with the business. They're hitting motherfuckers. They're on it. So the whole thing is don't get this shit crossed up. Just you think you're going into a yard that is just a soft yard or this, that, no, hell, And not only that, the fact that they're now like green lit, now they ramp it up more. And now they're really on point. They're holding their positions, and they're always on point, man, to defend themselves. So it's just really turned into, crazy shit. In fact, it got so bad the CDC or CDCR was going to pull the plug on SNY yards. They said, this fucking shit went sideways. This whole experiment went crazy. So they tried to integrate them. And then motherfuckers just start cracking off everywhere. They're trying to integrate them in regular yards, 50 yards, all that. Then they stopped that. And then I just talked to somebody again recently here, because there's guys from California here too, right? And they were saying, they're trying to integrate them yards again out there. I'm saying, it's like, what's the definition of madness? Trying to do the same thing over and over, expect a different result. This shit ain't gonna work. That shit don't work, man.
Nope.
But the bottom line is this. Look, man. At some point, some people gotta start stabilize shit. It's like I was in, I don't know, maybe SADF or Kern Valley or some fucking place. But I had some skinheads come up to me and tell me, they say, John, thank you very much for keeping the bullshit down, the wars down between other skinhead sets and the NLRs and them. Because I was telling them, man, what you guys doing? You guys ain't supposed to be beefing. You may be flying different flags, but you're the same people. You're not supposed to be beefing, period. That's just how it is. And and then you got to talk to them and sit people down. I always ran my little Buddhist cruise, my meditation cruise, my rap sessions. We'd sit down in there and we'd talk. And I'm in there with a lot of different crews too. I'm in there with the Vietnamese, all the Asian crews out of California that are Buddhists, out of Vietnam, Laos, Thailand, all this type of stuff. And developing good working relationships with these guys. And then naturally, other whites, and then the Mexicans, Southern Mexicans, Amis, Sureños, Northern structure, Nuestra Familia dudes I'm running into. We sit down and we interact as men. You got a lot of stuff in common, right?
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
I don't mean to cut you off, but with the NF, man, with them always beefing with Woods, how was that interaction?
Well, the thing is you got to get them to sit down, to step back from that, and then you got to start the conversation. Otherwise, there's going to be warfare. That's all it's going to be. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
That's just how it is. I remember when I went through the Sacramento County Jail, I run into a Mexican up there, a kid that had a gun beef. He just felt he had a gun case, and he was trying to figure out how to beef it. And me and him were celled together on the 8th floor intake in Sacramento County Jail, which is Northern Territory. Absolutely. And he was kind of looking at me, and this is when I was waiting to go into the California system. And I got a swastika on my right arm. And he would look at me, he'd look away, and me and him were talking. And then he says, after he started loosening up to me and talking to me, he says, that ink on your arm is good. I told him, do you know what that means? And I started breaking down to him what that really is. And he said, man, I never even heard that before. I said, yeah, well, that's what it really is. It's not. So you got to start conversation somewhere. But the bottom line is this. We're going to have differences. We're always going to have differences. But they're not insurmountable. And you got to understand that whatever happened in the past happened in the past, in situations and whatever. But at some point, you got to not be anal retentive. You got to let shit go.
They don't
Otherwise,
want
you're not going to evolve. You're going to be stuck. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and they don't want to let it go.
Well, then they're going to die with it. And then the youngsters coming up behind them, some will be educated by them and be stuck, but other ones won't. You know what I'm saying?
That's kind of like what happened in California with Chuco and Conejo and DC when they took over the general leadership positions. That they started working with the MA, and honestly, it went to the point where it went too far, where they were under the MA's thumb, and the federal faction of Skip and Corny and all them weren't having it. They said, fuck that, this is war for life, and it is what it is. And they even hit Tibbs behind that, bro. Quete took Tibbs out behind that.
So here's the thing. What you do, here's what you got to remember. You're different sets. The first thing you do is you stop the warfare. Second thing you do, the ones that are smarter, got cooler heads, that don't have too much history behind them, because if you got too much history, it's hard to get past it. You killed mine, I'm going to kill yours. We've been killing each other for a long time, so now it's I can't get past it. There's just too much weight, the inertia of that history. So you got to get people that can get past that, can start communicating. Then those are the ones that start communicating. Then you got to establish mutual respect. Then you don't try to start getting into your ego set or pissing contest. Mine's better than yours and all that, so you got to get under us, because that's going to kick the shit off all over again. Because now you're making them less than you, because you're saying you're better or more powerful or tougher or whatever the fuck it is than they are. You can't do that. You got to have mutual respect as men, as human beings, where you come from. Respect everybody's history. understand it is what it is. People evolve and go through what the fuck they go through, and it's on that basis, that neutral basis, that you start building new relationships. You have to do it that way. If you don't, if you keep throwing old shit in there, you ain't gonna get past that. And pretty soon you're gonna be running and gunning again, shooting at each other. That's just how they. So that's what this platform we're doing is the ones that are open to it, not only in this country but all over the fucking world. These are the things we're going to do. I'm not trying to be better than you, tougher than you, this, that, whatever. None of that. I respect you as a man or as a woman or as a sentient being, and know that's where we're going to start at. Even when I was in fucking in the CDC down there, and I'd be running these meditation groups, and we'd be having these conversations. The psychiatry department called me in one day. They said, "Listen, man, because I wouldn't enter. I don't have no psych records, right?" And so they called me and they said, "Listen, we want to hold you over count. I want to talk to you." He said, "Listen, we know what you're doing. We also have meditation things in our therapeutic modalities and all that. And the people that graduate from our therapeutic psychiatric stuff, can we send them to you?" I told him, "Yes, everybody's welcome. My stuff, everybody. Nobody's going to be picking on nobody. Nobody's going to be fucking with nobody. None of that shit's going down. You are going to respect the people up in there. That's just how it is." And then from that platform, that foundation, we start building relationships, levels of understanding, and everything else. That's how we do this. I even ran into guys that started that little crew, and then they all locked up. The FTBs fucked the brand because they looked around, they thought it was safe because all the brands locked up. So they started this little crew, and then they were starting nervous. And they're seeing me, and they're nervous, and they're saying, "Man, John, we're sorry." I tell them, "Listen, I understand how this shit happens. But you can't be pushing stuff like that because now you're pushing shit that's going to antagonize people and bring them after you. Because it's like, even if it ain't tip stuff, going out there in the world and seeing somebody, just tell them, 'Man, fuck you. Well, you're going to offend this motherfucker, and he's liable to want to beat your ass or shoot you or stick you or something. You're creating problems. You can't do that. You cannot. Yeah. You cannot expect to have good, positive, constructive relationships with anyone by from the onset cussing them out. It's not going to work, right?
With the FTB, that started with what I want to say like 20% of the NLR, and now in this day and age, I want to say there's 26 or 27 NLR members that are actually like considered good in the California prison system.
AV, yeah.
They brought a lot in.
They got pulled. In fact, when Pee Wee and them got pulled in the early 2000s, then they were told to go straighten up the NLR shit, even though now that they're brothers. So the thing is, the same thing with like Popeye and them. He was penile.
Yeah.
Once he gets pulled, then now it's use your influence to regulate this stuff. But at some point, all the static, all the misperceptions or even perceptions that are based on prior history, you got to get past this shit. You got to let it go. You got to be a bigger man than that. You got to let it go. You got to say, if you're going to heal some, otherwise, your brothers, your friends, you're going to be getting killed. That's how that shit goes. Everybody gets killed. Yep. We all come to this planet to die. That's all there is. We all come to this planet to die. It's what you do between the front door birth, the back door death. It's what you do in that hallway of life that, is really what matters. So that's what we're trying to do now. So the ones that are receptive to these messages, that aren't locked into rigid mindsets, because listen, at a certain point, I guarantee you can get a youngster, gets locked in, he's a go-getter, he's locked in his shit, but let him walk that path for a while, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, and he's going to get to the point where whatever his perception was and belief system was in the beginning, it's not that anymore, guaranteed it.
Whoa.
And he's going to have a lot of disappointments, a lot of his heroes that fell off, rolled over, fucking this, that, whatever. They aren't with the set no more. I mean, shit changed. Those are the realities of that, right?
And so that's exactly what happened with Popeye. You know what happened with him? He just dropped out, and he's turning witness in the RICO indictment against like Renegade and everyone else.
So Pop over on him?
Yeah, Popeye dropped out, rolled over on him, and yeah.
Yeah, well, that's how it goes, right?
Yep.
So, that's the bottom line, man. So the thing is even if it doesn't go that far, people fall off, or the shit is, you'll always hear the saying, yeah man, the shit ain't the same. When I got on it was like this, no it ain't like that no more, I ain't with this new shit, blah blah blah. But that's life. Life isn't a Polaroid picture. That's one little snapshot of one moment in life. Life is a series of transitions, man. It's transformation, it's change. Life is change. Reality is transformation, change in motion. That's just how it is. And your mindset is in a relationship with the outside objective reality field and other individuals and all the inner dynamics going on, and you are evolving. You're imprinting new data, new information in your memory banks. That's your garden down there. It's called Lelea Vijana, Divine Depository. It's where you're building your spiritual DNA for the transmigration and reincarnation, all of it. That's another conversation. But anyhow, so you're in states of transformation at all times. So if you got a death grip on an old Polaroid photograph of what it used to be, and you're trying to hang on to that, you can hang on only so long. You may not change, but the world all around you is going to change. And then you're going to be dissatisfied, disenchanted on what it is, and you say, fuck that, I'm done with it, blah, 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 whatever. You know, so I am not with dumb shit. And my thing is I'm in the transformation game. I'm where I can heal motherfuckers, that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to help people evolve.